In medieval times, staying clean was not about comfort, freshness, or personal pleasure. It was about survival, social order, and avoiding visible filth rather than invisible disease. People did not understand bacteria or germs, and the idea that water itself could spread illness was common. Many believed frequent bathing weakened the body by opening the pores, allowing sickness to enter. Cleanliness was therefore approached cautiously, with routines that seemed minimal or even disturbing by modern standards. Most people lived surrounded by mud, smoke, animal waste, and human refuse. Streets were rarely paved, waste was often dumped outside the home, and clean water was difficult to access. Hygiene depended heavily on wiping, rubbing, scraping, and covering smells rather than removing contamination. What mattered was appearance and odor control, not sanitation. Being visibly clean was more important than actually being clean. Daily hygiene was usually dry or semi-dry. Cloths, ash-based soaps, herbs, and cold water were preferred. Warm water was rare and used sparingly. Full body washing happened infrequently, sometimes only a few times per year. What we now consider basic hygiene would have been viewed as excessive, risky, or unnecessary. Medieval cleanliness relied on materials that today feel crude and unsettling. Soap existed, but it was harsh, made from animal fat and ash, and often irritating to the skin. Tooth care involved chewing sticks, herbs, or cloth rubbing, not brushing as we know it. Hair was combed constantly, not for style, but to remove lice, dirt, and parasites. Combing was a hygiene act, not grooming. Water was reused, sometimes shared by multiple people in sequence. Bathing tubs were communal in public bathhouses, and private bathing required significant effort. Even then, water was not drained after each use. Dirt was expected to settle, not disappear. People cleaned parts of the body individually because full immersion was impractical and suspicious. Smell was treated as a problem to mask, not eliminate. Herbs like rosemary, lavender, and sage were rubbed on skin and clothes. Powders and starch were applied to absorb sweat. Clothing was cleaned more often than bodies, because it was believed fabric trapped dirt and sickness. Clean clothes over a dirty body were considered acceptable. By modern standards, this was unhygienic and often disgusting. But within medieval logic, these practices made sense. They balanced labor, belief, fear, and limited resources in a world where absolute cleanliness was impossible. Despite how filthy it seems today, medieval hygiene was structured and intentional. People were not ignorant or careless. They worked within what they believed was safe. Cleanliness was tied to morality, status, and discipline. Too much bathing was associated with vanity, sin, or weakness. Moderation was considered healthy. Over time, plagues, urban growth, and changing medical theories slowly exposed the limits of these beliefs. As cities expanded and death became unavoidable, old explanations failed. Gradually, ideas about cleanliness shifted from surface appearance to physical health. This transition took centuries, not years. Modern hygiene feels natural to us, but it is the result of trial, error, and unimaginable discomfort. Medieval people stayed clean enough to survive, not to feel fresh. Their methods were strange, unpleasant, and often ineffective, but they were logical responses to a harsh and dirty world. Understanding this makes modern cleanliness feel less ordinary and far more earned.